This video's made for adult collectors because... pain. Well, that's a tell of how this is gonna go. I really wanted to like this thing. I think it's all right, but there are more issues here than I would like there to be. He looks the part, but looks can only get you so far. Functionally, there's stuff that interacts with itself weird, parts forms in strange ways, and articulates in... It's just odd. But back to the looks, though. This looks great. Oh, first, this was bought at Robot Kingdom. Here's the box, not sponsored. What is sponsored, though, is Try Treats. That was an amazing transition. Try Treats is a snack subscription box service that delivers snacks once a month to your door from a different country every month. This time we got Taiwan, I think? I shot this a little bit ago, so I think it was Taiwan. But you get a box with a bunch of snacks in it, there was a bunch of candies in it this time. And as per usual, my food allergies omit me from having these, but my dad can have them, so here he is enjoying them.
Look, I thought it would taste more mangoey. It's good. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
I wish I could eat it. So you can check them out, links in the description below, and if you use code THATTOYGUY, you can save 15% off your first box. So check them out down below. Thank you very much, Try Treats, for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the actual toy. He looks great. There's no cape because soft goods on a Transformer is almost basically unheard of. But the damage, I love the asymmetric damage. I was expecting it to be like there, but not on this level. Even the arm panels and the leg panels have different detail from each other. And the back with the hunch and the moss hanging out there. I really love the way this figure looks. Yes, a cape would complete it, but as it stands, I think this is great so far. And the regular sculpted detail, like non-battle damage stuff, the thighs and knees especially look really nice, and the bits of detail within the shoulders. I love the Mask of Creation face he's got going on. For those who aren't Bionicle fans, that's this. What's funny is you can clip the actual Mask of Creation onto his head and it stays there so he can wear it. It's just a fun coincidence. Now the things I don't like. The ankles, they don't tilt. And this wouldn't really bug me a whole lot if there was no feasible way to add them. But to my non-certified engineer eyes, because I'm not an engineer, I can kind of see space for one. Obviously, there's a reason it's not here, but And then his feet aren't sculpted at angles either. If he didn't have the tilts, I would have liked his feet to be at sculpted angles. Because of that, he looks weird in pretty much any pose I put him in. So I asked Evan why he doesn't have them, because, you know, you just do that. He hasn't responded. It is the holiday season, so I assume that is why, and I am perfectly willing to just wait till after that. So I will put his response in another video once it comes in, because I do want to know, and I want everyone else to know, why he doesn't have ankle tilts. The other thing is the spikes. This is more of an optional thing, but the spikes do go on the tail or stay on the figure. It's optional, but it is weird to me. I feel like it should have just been sculpted into the tail if you wanted to have the spike club thing rather than taking them off, because they're a bit of a pain to take off. And then the parts forming part I will get to in the transformation. The shoulder and back thing doesn't stay in place. I've tried squeezing it, I've inspected it, I've had others try it. It just doesn't want to stay. Moving the arms because of how like solid the joints are makes this entire upper torso piece just come off. He has his tail as a weapon. He didn't use it in the film, but the tail weapons are just kind of natural for something like this, so it looks cool. So if this was a deluxe, I'd be a little bit more forgiving on some of the articulation points it's missing, but it is not. This is a Voyager. There are things about this that I just don't really vibe with that much. I've talked about some of them already. There's one that I don't like, and that is just a my copy specific thing. But the head is on a ball joint. It's on a double ball joint actually. There's like a dumbbell sort of thing going on in there. So he can look left and right about that far just because of the hunchback, but you can do this if you want to. There's that. But my figure's ball joint is incredibly loose at very specific angles. Like if I have him looking up sometimes, it'll just start drooping down. It is a little bit annoying. I can fix that. Like that is something I can just go in and thicken up, but that's annoying. These shoulders, I gotta hold the back for this. They can do a full 360 degrees. This peg does get in the way sometimes, but that's just for transformation. They can both go out that far regardless of the shoulder pads. You do have bicep rotation and below the elbow rotation. There's nothing at the wrist, but that sort of acts as your wrist swivel, which I do like. But then again, if you look at the shoulder, right, and you see how it's not fully lined up there, I've tried so hard squeezing this thing every different way I can, transforming it in many different ways to try and get that to sit flush. And it doesn't sit flush. So I'm like, okay, where'd the box go? Let's look at the box, the back of the box. And I don't know how well you can see it, but it is also sitting slightly higher than the actual shoulder itself. So going off that stock image, and you know, Hasbro stock images usually aren't the greatest, but still going off that stock image, it just doesn't sit flat. And every time I move the shoulders, the entire back comes off. He does have a waist joint, which does allow for a full 360. I thought, oh, the shoulders have come undone again. I thought these were gonna get in the way. They don't, so that's cool. Hips can go forward that far, they can go back that far. He can do a full splits. The shoulders have come unpegged again. He does have above the knee swivels, but they are a bit slightly hindered by the, not hindered, but they bump into this little hinge there as you rotate them. He can bend at the knee 90 degrees. And then the toes can move up. Oh god damn it. It is unfortunate because I really wanted this thing to be like superposable and cool. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this robot's function. The looks are there, but the hand feel and the articulation just aren't. There's even some bits of the plastic like inside the torso that are a bit on the sharper edge side. I wonder if there was like any budget spread between this and Thundercracker and more of it went to Thundercracker because they get budget for a wave, not per figure. Damn, I should have asked that. The transformation in the upper body is neat. The lower body is weird, and then the parts forming is strange. So the transformation, this is actually kind of neat. I do like how, or actually I really like how the torso and the arms work. They're very cool. The legs are pretty standard beast former, but this stuff is very neat. So to start with, we're going to open these panels up on the arms, fold the paws out as far as possible, and then rotate this 180 degrees and then close that up, and that gets the lion legs done. Then you want to rotate this at the forearm forward on both sides, then take this section and plug it into the underside here under the armpit, and that's basically the front of the lion legs done. So the next step is to take this section here and bring it back. You can see on the inside here there's like this giant sort of screw pipe thing that bumps into here, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. This is how it was packaged and how the instructions show the head to sit in here, so like I have no idea. But then you want to split this whole assembly out, bring this up, fold the head up just to get out of the way, take this panel, rotate it 180 degrees, and then tuck the head in to where the lion head used to be. Keep the lion head, rotate it that way, bring this section down. It's going to tab into two like little tabs here on either side, so you get those clipped into place. And then you plug the lion head into the back. I almost forgot what that was called. And that's how you get the front of it done. And then comes the parts forming. This horn comes off the tail and goes onto the top. I don't know why there wasn't potentially enough room in here or something to just put a hole in here somewhere to have the horn sit in. There isn't space for it, or at least they didn't make space for it. And so you have to parts form the horn. And while parts forming usually doesn't bug me when there's a place for it to go, because there is a place for it to go on the tail, I still think this is a bit weird. Then you take the back legs here, you want to take these panels and unclip them, and they're going to accordion up and snap into place. They're going to peg into the side of the thighs basically. So you get that all situated. You want to bring them down. You want to fold in the heels, fold up the toes, and then just bring these really long legs all the way back. Take the tail, plug the tail into the back here, into this 5mm port. And there you have Alpha Trion in his weird unicorn lion mode thing. Lion mode looks cool from the front. I'm not a huge fan of how much the legs stretch out back there. They're very long. Not to mention his toes never want to stay flat on my copy. You put them down and you give them a slight push at the top and then they bend upwards. Like I said though, I do like how the front ends up. The lion head looks pretty swish, and it's got a 5mm port in the mouth so he can hold weapons in his mouth, and honestly that's pretty damn sick. The tail does have a point of articulation, which is nice to see. And like looks wise, again, other than the length of the legs, everything here, it looks great to me. I also dig the battle damage here. The back armor piece is even more on display now, so you get to appreciate how they like sliced it up and how the torso extends to show off this new lion like spine torso thing on the inside. And he's a pretty decent size too, growing a bit in this mode. But in the end, I don't know if I can recommend this. Not unless it's on sale or you're like me and you're collecting the entire TF1 cast. It's fine and reminds me a lot of like early studio series, but that was a long time ago, and we are getting things in the line like Age of Extinction Galvatron, 86 Thundercracker, Transformers 1 Sentinel, and so on, that this just kind of feels underwhelming. I'll plonk Evan's answers to all my questions in another video of like the ankle tilt and the horn and all that, because I'm still very curious. But as it stands now, I don't know if I would recommend this unless you can find it on sale. But that's my look at Transformers 1 Alpha Trion. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.